Folks, welcome again to the Music Coffee Talk. Both those here with us in person on the 4th floor of the library and all of you at home or in your office. As always, we're recording and we will post the video recording of this to the website and send you the link in a couple days. Special thanks to Saxton Rose and David Winkleman for joining us for this. We really reserve the bulk of the time for your questions, anything music program related. I don't know if y'all would like to say a few words of introduction, but after that, we'll move straight into Q&A. And just a reminder to please use the Q&A function for those joining us remotely, and we'll take the questions in order from there. So I'll turn it over to y'all.
Sure. I'm Saxton Rose. I'm the Dean of the School of Music. For those that don't know me from last year, I've been on faculty here since 2008. So this is my 15th year at the School of the Arts. This is my 3rd year as Dean. I was the bassoon teacher here before that. So very familiar with this institution and its community. We're on the end of our 3rd week of classes for high school students. So far, so good. It's a very different year starting out than the last couple of years. And so we're thankful for that. But no major hiccups so far. I'm just looking forward to hearing your questions and chatting with you all today.
Okay, so when you're ready, put them in the Q&A.
David, do you want to introduce yourself?
Good afternoon. I'm David Winkleman. I have the pleasure of serving as Associate Dean in the School of Music. And I'll just echo what Saxton shared. It's wonderful to be starting off a year not fully behind partitions and halfway on Zoom and all of those things. It's fantastic being able to see the faces, have quieter, calmer conversations with students, and just see all of the really wonderful energy that is percolating and permeating throughout campus right now. So please share your questions.
Folks, I will say, as we're waiting for questions to come in, I imagine that many of you were part of the general coffee talk this past Friday. And just to give an update about the 11th and 12th grade Title IX and consent training, the 2 women with Harassment-Free North Carolina who did the training for the 9th and 10th graders and will be doing the replacement training for the 11th and 12th graders. They're going to be offering another parent session before the student session. We're working out the details of when that will be, and we'll share those details with you when we have them, which should be in the next week or so. Okay, we do have a couple questions now. For high school wind ensemble performances, are parents welcome to attend? Are those ticketed performances? And if so, where can we purchase tickets?
Absolutely welcome to attend. We encourage you to attend.
Please.
And it's not just the wind ensemble concerts, but any of the student concerts you are welcome to attend. High school students are integrated within virtually all of the ensembles. Doesn't mean that your student will be in every concert, but it's a fully integrated large ensemble program in that regard. Each performer in a concert, each student performer has privilege of accessing up to 2 complimentary tickets. And I would encourage you to encourage your students to do that. And if there are additional tickets desired, then there is an online ticketing system that is straightforward and easy to navigate, and additional tickets can be gotten that way.
Could you speak to some of the opportunities the vocal program in terms of performances and chances for us to see what our daughter is learning?
Yeah, this year we're doing something we haven't done too recently, which is combine the cantata singers, which is our choir, with the orchestra. So the cantata singers will sing on November 19th with our student orchestra in Stevens Center, doing Handel's Oratorio Jet. That'll be a beautiful piece. There's another cantata singers concert in the spring, and then they'll do the holiday cantata singers concert again at Home Moravian before the break. And then in terms of other performances, solo performances, there studio recitals. Not sure which studio this student is in, but that's an opportunity to see the students sing. And then at our weekly performance hour, the student might have the opportunity to sing on Wednesdays at 2:00. Anything else?
No, I think you've covered it.
But that Handel Oratorio Jet it's a work that's not performed too often, but it's a full oratorio, which is almost like an opera. That's not staged with sets and wigs and makeup and everything, but there's a narrative, a biblical narrative, and soloists who sing with the orchestra, then a choir and the orchestra. It's a big event, sort of like Handel's Messiah, which is another oratorio.
With academics, it's easier to tell like how our son is doing, but with the music part, we don't really know. So are the students like given like progress reports to tell like what they need to work on? And is that something that's shared with parents just out of curiosity, or how does that work?
Yes, I'll let David talk about the progress report. But oh yeah. She was wondering, it's harder to tell with the musical performance stuff how a student is doing. Obviously with academics, you can check in and see the grades, but the question was, how do we keep kind of tabs or check up on the progress the students are making musically? I think the best way is just to talk with the individual teacher. So in your case, is it Dimitri? So Professor Steinberg, I think he'd be happy to talk about everything that's going on. And then David, do you want to talk about how progress reports work?
Sure, thank you. And also I'll flesh out a little bit the avenue for getting interaction and feedback from your student's teacher will in part perhaps depend on what age level they are. The 9th and 10th graders are focusing on their lessons, masterclass, and large and/or chamber ensemble. And with those types of activities, there isn't the same sort of canvas presence as is typical with an academic class, or perhaps with the junior and senior year music theory and musicianship or music literature and analysis classes. So the way of making contact or having that background connection will be different for the different age groups. And if anyone would like to have some additional guidance or help with how best to navigate that, please feel free to contact me. In terms of progress reports, there will be broad comprehensive midterm reports generated right in conjunction with fall break. And we encourage all of the music faculty to provide feedback on the progress of high school students. And that would be regardless of whether there is a concern or not. Everyone is deserving of having that window into what's going on and how it's going on. And then those, yes, are readily available to parents and students.
Excuse me. And in this case, music and high school academics use the same system for progress reports. And so those will come to you together. And your student will have a report from each teacher, each class.
Martin, there is a follow-up to the comp ticket question. How do our students get their comp passes / tickets? I would guide them to please speak with Mr. Ken Wilmot, who is the Director of Artistic Operations, and he will be able to help coordinate that distribution of comp tickets for the ensemble writ large.
There's a question following up on that. Is there a ticketing website that has all the performances listed? Yes. UNCSA performances, the entire performance calendar for this semester was recently added to the website. So through that website, you can see the individual listings for all the concerts, detailed description of the program, and then there's an online way to purchase tickets or reserve your tickets there. So I just Google UNCSA performances when I want to see it and it comes up. Yeah. And you can filter now by school or discipline. So there's a music button at the top. Just click that music button, then only the musical performances will show up.
I want to keep reading out.
Yeah.
Sure. There's a question. What is the illness policy for music-related classes and performances? Our child is under the impression that unless they are very sick, they must attend all classes like a job, quote unquote. Music's attendance policy is exactly the same as the high school academic program attendance policy. If a student is not feeling well and they live residentially, then they need to be checked out by the wellness center. And if those health professionals deem it appropriate, then they are confined and excused from attending classes. If they are a commuter, then we leave it to the discretion and prerogative of the parent to determine whether the student is sick enough to stay home or should come in. And that information is communicated to Kim Stiller in the high school academic program office. She is very faithful in forwarding that to me, but I will always appreciate if you shoot me an email as well. It's just helpful all the way around.
Another ticketing question, are there season pass type things that can be purchased instead of individual tickets for each event, or should we pick each performance? There isn't a season pass that I know of, or a grouping or packaging of tickets yet, but I think that's something that we're talking about and we could see in the future. But for now, you'll just need to go to each performance and reserve tickets there.
There is a question about booking Watson Hall for audition recordings. Is it available to be booked past September? Our 3 performance venues, Watson, Crawford, and Hood, are all available to be booked for appropriate audition pre-screen. I'm imagining this is perhaps a question related to a junior or a senior, perhaps. There is a process through which the self-recording can be booked, and I would guide students to please speak with Ms. Mitzi McNeil, who is the music office coordinator. She sits in the outer office, is the first visible presence once a person enters the music office, and she can help guide to the appropriate places and processes.
And there's a follow-up about the vocal performances. We feel that the vocal program has much fewer performances, or maybe we're just missing it. That may be true, especially for high school vocalists. As you move up into undergrad, there are undergrad scenes, which is opera scenes and musical theater scenes, nights that we do. But for high school students, I think historically often the case has been that high school singers have not had a lot of performance opportunities or performance experience in their past. And so might not be ready for those yet, but in some cases, that's not the case at all. So I think I'd really like to talk to this parent and student specifically about trying to get more performance opportunities. That we can do with a conversation with the individual teacher. There might be, like I said, performance hour opportunities or studio performances, or a number of other things. So I'd be happy to talk with that parent individually.
In addition, over the past couple of years, the voice faculty have been exploring opportunities during intensive arts to have a kind of high school level, high school appropriate opera scenes mini session. As Dean Rose said, for the undergraduates, one of the classes, it's non-curricular. In other words, it's not required of the undergraduates, but undergraduate opera workshop is available to them. Now it's available after they've had certain other curricular courses, for instance, dance movement for singers and acting for singers. But on the high school level, what the voice faculty have recognized and started to try to leverage creatively is time during intensive arts for the high school students to be able to dip their toe, so to speak, into the world of opera scenes or musical theater scenes, those types of things.
There's a question, who is in charge of the UNCSA recording studio? My student has a serious interest in recording technology and would like to use the studio and even help other students to record there. I'm really happy and excited about the students' interest in recording technology. That is something that we're really moving seriously toward right now. And I do admit we're in a bit of a transition because our longtime music technology professor, Michael Rothkopf, retired at the end of last year. This year, we are doing a search for our new full-time recording arts and production, music recording arts and production faculty member. So we're going to do a search and find full-time member of the faculty who will oversee this program, oversee their studio. And we're also working towards additional programming like a minor in recording arts for our undergraduate program that we're going to start working on when we get this new faculty member to help us with it. So for now, we've got an adjunct teacher, Evan Ritchie, who also teaches in film, who is, he owns and runs a recording studio in town. So he's teaching our courses this year in music technology and recording. But for now, I think if this student has some experience and interest in working with the equipment that we have, because we have a beautiful new recording studio that is all set and up and running, and is used in those recording classes currently. But if the student has an interest and would like to work with that equipment, they should just come see me. We'll try to figure out some special arrangement for now. But knowing that we will have, a faculty member in place by the end of this year and programs in the future that will be a lot more intentional with it. Yeah.
Dance, they didn't have their device, so I got in the habit of reading all the questions, but you all can see the questions. Let's see them better.
There we go.
Do local students have the opportunity to participate in the Nutcracker? We've heard this was a possibility.
So there is a little choral part, the da 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 dee, da 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 at the end of the first act. And I think cantata singers have typically done that. Is that true?
It's been a variety of things over the years. Most recently, we were collaborating with the Winston-Salem Youth Chorus, and then that shifted to another group. In truth, I do not know what the plan is for this year.
I will ask our choral teacher, Jamie Albritton, who does cantata singers, what his plans are for that. I think that he has been directing that little group in the past, whether it's been our students or the Winston-Salem Youth Center Choir.
For new 11th grade students who placed out of music theory, can they still apply for the AP music theory test on their own, or do we do this through UNCSA?
They would apply on their own. Anyone is individually welcome and eligible to take any AP exam. We do not offer the AP music theory exam here on campus. They would need to make arrangements to travel to an appropriate alternate high school location. The same as might happen from time to time if they need to take the SAT at a time other than when it's being offered here on the UNCSA campus.
They could get campus transportation to that school, yes. If they're a residential student.
I would imagine something can be arranged, but I don't know the details. I'm sorry.
They could come to our office, yeah, we could help them.
Yeah, that'd be, we would like to talk to that student in the academic office. We might be able to help with some arrangements.
Okay, thank you.
Sisters are all about this. So we talk about the attendance since there was this question. There seems to be some breakdown. Adding.
Yes. So there were the question from the office from Ms. Stiller about just clarifying the attendance procedures around particularly planned absences. We have a purple sheet, literally purple, in the academic office that we ask students to come pick up and take around to each of their academic teachers. The goal is to have them have a conversation, a planning conversation with each of their academic teachers to anticipate a schedule for makeup work and things like that. And then once they've gotten each teacher's signature, they bring it back to the office. We do also need a parent or guardian's sort of authorization of that absence or attestation that this is a planned absence. And that can be done just through an email to Kim in our office. So we need both the purple sheet and the parent email or call to sort of resolve that whole process.
If I might tag on that briefly, it is the exact same process in music for music classes that will be missed, but we don't have the cool purple sheet. We have a boring, bland white sheet.
It's just purple paper.
So they actually have to do two sheets.
One is geared toward the academic portion, one is geared toward the music portion.
Yeah, it's the challenge of the two programs, each recording attendance for its faculty. I will say too, with an unexpected absence, whether it's illness or whatever, we do also need a parent email or phone call for those. And the parent email or phone call is really helpful, and that will convert the absence into an excused absence. So just if you can follow up with Kim in our office, and David, would it be Mitzi in your office who would field the sort of emergency or unexpected absence calls?
Yes, and then as necessary, she could forward that to me.
So Mitzi McNeil in the music department, and Kim Stiller in the academic department.
There's a question, are music students able to participate in chorus? So I'm assuming this is an instrumental student. Yes, they would need kind of the recommendation of a vocal faculty, probably Jamie Albritton. But absolutely, I think that would be, I sang in the chorus during my undergraduate degree where I was studying bassoon. And it was terrific for my air support and wind and musicality and stuff like that. So if it's possible in the schedule, certainly encourage that.
And the schedule, unfortunately, is sometimes a limiting factor. This year, I have already fielded and helped guide one of our composition students toward being able to participate in cantata singers. The typical path is to connect them with James Albritton, who is the director, and he can help determine appropriate voice category and placement in the chorus. Cantata Singers rehearses Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 3:45 to 4:45. So it's an hour each of those 4 days, which is vocally appropriate for young voices. The reality is that Friday afternoon is orchestra rehearsal. Thursday is jazz ensemble rehearsal, involves some high school students, not a great number of them, not a huge number. Tuesday afternoon is wind ensemble rehearsal. That would be another potential significant conflict. Monday afternoon, there could be a conflict between master classes that are happening. And actually that master class conflict potentially occurs Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. What Mr. Albritton has historically been happy to help accommodate would be missing one of those 4 regular rehearsals each week, presuming there is good and engaged attendance at the other 3. So a single conflict does not remove it from consideration, but there are things that need to be considered and worked through. At this point, we are far enough into the semester that it's not possible to add a student for credit or a grade. If this is something that the student would like to explore as a possible spring semester activity for credit and a grade, we're happy to take a look in advance at it. But once again, I guess where I'm heading with this is something that Dean Rose has referenced obliquely or directly several times, having the opportunity for a direct conversation with the student is usually the best way to problem solve and find paths forward.
There's a question about career paths. Are there workshops or events that might help high school students decide on different music career paths and possibilities? There are, while many of our students in high school go on to music programs in undergraduate colleges or conservatories, a lot of them don't and go on to successful careers in other areas, and we want to absolutely help and encourage myself, Dr. Winkleman, and Dr. Maria Sturkin, who is our assistant
sign up for Parkland High School here in Winston-Salem. And come to our office in 304 transportation to Parkland. Of course, the student can also take the SAT if they are home that weekend. If they're live close enough to be home, they can take it at a local high school too.
And so the dress rehearsal would conflict there on the 1st, that Saturday. It's from 10 to 12:30. That's the day of the concert. Later that evening is the concert in Stevens Center for the orchestra. So if there is an alternate time available, I think we'd want to work with that student individually. Typically, we don't want to release students from the dress rehearsal. That's really an important rehearsal, obviously, the last one before the concert. But if there is absolutely no other time to take that test, and it's something that student absolutely needs, and I think we need to make an exception there.
Brock, do you repeat what you just said? I think there was a glitch.
Sure.
Thing back online.
I'll read the question again. What are the arrangements for students who may want to take the SAT on October 1st and have dress rehearsals for orchestra concert that evening? And will the November SAT date be on campus, or will there be transportation to another location? So the SAT will not dismiss until 1 o'clock, and that's a national standard testing time that we can't work around. Okay. And I understand the dress rehearsal starts at 10 a.m. So there obviously is a conflict. It may be that student needs to register for the November 1st, or excuse me, the November SAT. We can provide transportation. That student needs to sign up for Parkland High School, which is about 3-4 miles from UNCSA, and our transportation office will provide a van. The student will need to sign up for transportation, and they can do that by seeing myself or Ms. Stiller in the academic office.
But thank you for that question. It's good to get that on our radar now.
And there was just a helpful reference here that the Career Center in Winston-Salem is typically the closest local high school that offers the AP Music Theory exam.
There's a question about the performance calendar. I see all performances listed on the site. Is there a downloadable version with lists of the performance dates? There is, because I know that because there is a printed version that goes out in mailings. I think that's been mailed out already. So we certainly should be able to find a PDF of that for you if it's not available on the website. So let us follow up, or if this person wants to just get their name, whoever this is, and I can follow up with that.
Are piano students ever allowed any classes or collaboration with the composition department? They are particularly interested in classical composition.
I feel that.
We encourage collaboration. People are not allowed to collaborate. If the question is aiming toward are individual private lessons available for high school students who are not here as composition students specifically, then that becomes a more difficult situation to accommodate, simply because of capacity in the composition studios. Once again, if there is a student who is interested in pursuing something like this, it would be very helpful for them to come to me or to Dean Rose. We could then guide them toward the combination of Dr. Dillon and Dr. Miller, who are our composition faculty, and they would then be able to perhaps link your student up with a graduate student, either currently in the program or maybe someone in the area who would be willing and interested to work privately with your student. In terms of broader collaborations, yes, we very much hope that students will have an eagerness and an interest in exploring the music that is being created today by sometimes it's their high school peers, because we do have composition students at the high school level, but also participating in other readings and workshops that might happen throughout the year. There are guests that come to campus as guests of the composition department. We are trying to be very intentional this year about making sure all of the students in the School of Music are aware of these guest residencies. Dean Rose has initiated a weekly news email for that will be sent out each Monday morning, making sure students are aware of the various guest and other masterclass workshop opportunities that are coming up during that week. I don't know if you'd like to add anything more to that.
No, just that there are a lot of opportunities to work with the composition department or attend composition department activities and kind of guest visits. So there are a lot of kind of adjacent activities to studying in the composition department that I'm sure that our composition faculty could kind of describe and help organize. So as a high school student, I fully encourage the just investigation of everything music and everything that's possible that we do here, just to be able to kind of find your way and find the things that really interest you, so that the next step would be a little bit more focused. So definitely want to encourage the students to investigate that. So I think going directly to the composition faculty, Dr. Jared Miller, Dr. Larry Dillon, just talking through those opportunities. There is a question. There is an SAT in December that we are attempting to register for on our own, but it is the last week of school, and I am unsure if it will conflict with the duties of the music students during that last week. It all depends on the date. There's the last day of classes, November 29.
I'm looking at the SAT site right now,
Okay.
and it is apparent, obviously, Saturday, December 3rd, which will fall right between the end of exams and the beginning of our intensive arts. What I am anticipating is that voice juries will probably happen on Saturday, December 3rd. So if this is a voice student, that probably wouldn't be a good day to try to do an SAT. For other students, it probably is a reasonable time to sit for the SAT. So once again, it depends on individual circumstance.
If a senior needs to travel for an audition by air, can UNCSA provide a transportation to the airport? Which one?
Rock, you probably have more information about this than I do.
I know the airport that they do provide transportation is PTI,
In Greensboro.
Greensboro. I don't know for sure if they do individual airport runs like that, but
As opposed to associated with breaks.
yeah, I know they do them associated with breaks for groups. I'm not sure they do individual airport runs.
So they can check with Res Life.
Yeah.
There's a sign up for transportation to those different kinds of places.
Yeah, so if the students are residential student, which it sounds like they are, they should check with the residence life staff connector desk.
They would have the more complete information about possibilities.
We'll just take a moment in the lull. We've been tentatively talking about potential parent-teacher conferences Friday, October 21st. And the plan is crystallizing a bit. And in this case, actually, both music faculty and high school academic faculty will be offering parent-teacher conference opportunities with the studio professor, correct?
With the studio professors, the violin teacher, the clarinet teacher.
So we'll basically be running a schedule that would conform to a typical academic day, roughly 8 a.m. to 3:30. Mitzi and Kim will be communicating about the schedule and sign up information toward the end of September. Start locking in those appointments, and we'll have both in-person and Zoom options available for folks. So it won't be the full family weekend the way it was pre-COVID, but we are bringing back this very important feature. And it's really nice timing. We talked about progress reports earlier. Progress reports get published as we go into fall break. So an opportunity for parents and guardians and their students to sort of review those narrative reports and the students' progress, opportunities for improvement. And then those parent-teacher conferences will occur exactly 2 weeks later. So after a little time has passed, with the ability to put some of those prescriptions into place. So that'll be the sequence of October.
There's a follow-up regarding the December SAT. Who would know if the piano student will be free on that day? Their piano teacher, question mark. I would anticipate that pianists would be free that day, but yes, checking with the major teacher just to ensure that there's not some sort of one-off that they are envisioning as we transition from exams into intensive arts.
Right. Likely it's a pretty good day for a piano student. There's a nutcracker rehearsal, so the pianists won't be involved in that. And then juries won't be happening for piano students. So it's probably a good day.
I'm sorry, you keep saying intensive parts. What do you mean by that?
Good question.
The question is, what do we mean by intensive arts? Dean Rose, take it away.
So intensive arts is a period at the end of the fall semester after classes have finished, exams have finished, and in the music school, juries have finished, where we create our own curriculum. It's about a week and a half now, right up until the break. And our faculty come up with this new curriculum, which is workshops and guest faculty and some performances and lectures and all sorts of stuff that doesn't fit exactly into the semester curriculum. And so it's, there's a question about moving on to college. Our percussion teacher always does a session during intensive arts, which is how to audition for college. Or I've done a session about how to market and promote yourself, in the 21st century with the internet, social media and stuff as a musician. So there's just those kind of one-off classes or workshops. Our piano professor, Dmitry Boroviev, has done a week-long session on improvisation in the classical period for pianists. So it's that sort of kind of one-off activity that is planned throughout intensive arts. So students are required to remain and participate in intensive arts. But it's a kind of creative period where students have a little more time to practice and also attend these kind of one-off workshops and opportunities.
Without the pesky academic.
Yeah, all those classes and homework and stuff.
No more theory or oral skills or
Yeah.
all those pesky things.
And at that time, Nutcracker is happening too. So the orchestra members that are in Nutcracker have, a rehearsal or a concert on those days. They're participating in intensive arts also. But for the pianists, Dimitri and Dima are piano faculty. They are heavily engaged in intensive arts. And so there's, our bass teacher runs this technique class every day in the morning. everyone kind of has their own take on it and their own kind of creative activity during that, but it's a fun time.
Will the wellness center be offering the new COVID booster shots when they're available? I'm almost certain the answer is no.
It is that.
Thank you. I am certain the answer is no.
Because Kim says so.
Well, I know.
Will the parent-teacher conferences be offered in person and online? Yes. We are wanting to be able to support and accommodate whatever the situation is.
There was a question yesterday in dance about, it seemed like some parents and guardians were not yet aware of the PSO, Parent Support Organization Facebook page. So in my weekly email, I will be sending out that contact information. It's a great place for working out carpool. There was a question about getting to the airport in the event we don't offer campus transportation for the individual audition. It may be that more than one student is going to same or similar audition. It can be a place to work out carpooling for things like that, sharing of information. So if you're not yet aware of that space, I'll put that information in my email. I also spoke to Kim. We will send out the PDF version of the performance calendar.
So I have an update. I emailed Candy and Candy said in all communications, there's not a downloadable one available, but the mailing has not gone out yet. So that is coming in the mail and it's copying the link to the performance calendar.
Okay,
So as soon as there is the mailing, we'll have one at that
Yes.
point.
Yes.
yeah, great.
So Kim, if you couldn't hear, Kim was saying they haven't yet sent out the paper mailing. Once that is ready to go, there will then be a PDF of the performance calendar, at which point we will send that to all of you. It's just not yet ready.
And just for clarity for everyone, right now, what's posted on the website is the fall semester performance calendar. There will eventually be a spring semester performance calendar also.
We have a little lull right now, so I'll plug some of the upcoming performances. This weekend is our first concert in the School of Music, and this is an alum of the Fletcher Opera Program, Richard Orizaba, who's been extremely successful in the opera world since graduating. He's giving a recital on Saturday afternoon in Watson Hall. And for the concerts in Watson, we will continue to live stream those concerts for free. So if there's a concert in Watson, not Friedman, not Stevens Center yet, but in Watson, which most of our concerts happen in, those concerts will be live streamed and you can access that through Facebook or YouTube. And then September 8th, I'm very excited about this percussion ensemble called Sandbox Percussion. They were nominated for a Grammy of their recording of the piece that they'll play next week. It's a percussion quartet with lots of different instruments, and they bring their whole lighting video rig with them, which apparently is very elaborate. I can't wait to see it. And then this piece by Andy Akio, which is an incredible concert length piece. So I encourage you to come see that. That's in the Friedman Theater. And then after that is world famous opera singer LaTanya Moore. She's coming to give a recital in Watson Hall. Most recently, she was Billy, the lead in Fire Shut Up in My Bones, which is Terrence Blanchard's opera that was incredible success. That'll be a wonderful, wonderful concert in Watson. So just that Rinaldi Quartet's coming after that, September 13th. Lots going on. So check it out.
And Dean Rose is saying that you can participate through live stream for anything coming out of Watson. Your student can be there for free because every student gets a free ticket to every UNCSA performance, not just music, but dance, drama, film screenings. Anytime I have an opportunity to get word out to our students, and now I'm using you as surrogates, encourage your student to get to concerts. It is free and it can be life-changing being able to experience live performance in these venues. I'm sorry, we're not able to provide complimentary tickets for family members.
But a lot of the concerts are free.
Yeah,
That is true.
They were, dance yesterday was, because they're never sure until very close to the performances what the casts are gonna be for Nutcracker and which night. And they were advocating, just go ahead and buy some tickets. And then you could do like a ticket exchange on the PSO Facebook. So I think the same would, I guess you're gonna be in the orchestra every night. You're in the orchestra.
yeah.
And the assignments for who's in orchestra rotation, who's in wind ensemble, chamber winds, all of those have already been determined for the semester.
Do you think the comments and the concerts performance they were organized or later to see watch, because usually during the concert it's not okay to take pictures or
Yeah.
videos,
Yes.
Can you repeat the question?
but then
The question was, do we make recordings of the concerts? So the concerts in Watson are all recorded with the video setup there that we used to do the live streaming. Those are archived on the YouTube page. So you can go back and listen to those or watch those concerts. The concerts in Stevens Center are only audio recorded right now. After the renovation of Stevens Center, we're going to put in a full video system in there. But the final concert, which is Berlioz's Simply Fantastique, April 29th, that concert will be video and audio recorded.
There are a couple of really kind comments, sort of thanking Dean Rose and Associate Dean Winkleman for this opportunity, chance to ask questions. We try to schedule these strategically through the year. We'll do another round of these in January, early February. At that point, we're kind of focused on seniors and the run up to commencement, but of course, all parents are welcome to participate. So we have thought about these moments through the year, but just to say again, as you have questions, please reach out to us directly at any point, whether it's setting up an in-person conference, phone call, or email exchange. We're happy to field questions at any time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really enjoy these. It's an opportunity to, put these questions out that apply maybe to a lot of the different students and get some discussion going and some follow-up questions and all that. But I understand that some of your questions might be very specific to your own student or just maybe of a private nature that you want to talk with us individually. So just, the door is always open. And if you'd like to set up a one-on-one or a meeting with us at any time, please do.
There's a question, could we reiterate what's the method for a student to make their ticket a comp ticket instead of for needing to pay for it?
If I could ask for a little clarity, are you meaning they are performing in a concert and they are eligible to have 2 comp tickets to share? Or are you meaning to get their free ticket? I'll presume that for the moment. Attending for free. There are 2 ways at this point, my preferred way to guide students is to have them go through the ticketing system that is available online. As I have greeted the new high school students, I've tried to make a point of speaking about it because I know it can look a little scary. It looks like you are being charged a student ticket price, and that simply is not the case. There is a student ticket price listed, but that would be students at Winston-Salem State University or students at Wake Forest. What they need to do is they need to sign in as a UNCSA student and have just the courage to keep clicking forward, and eventually they will have clicked far enough into it that it will come up as zero cost. And then that is their complimentary free ticket for them to use to get into that event.
It is a bit confusing. I mean, as an adult employee, it took me a couple times to sort of get used to that. You do need to sign in.
You do need to sign in.
And as David's saying, you need to go through steps of the process to get to that zero charge. It's not immediately apparent.
And I too have had that moment of what's going on here. And I just have to keep myself clicking forward. Now, sometimes a person decides that they want to attend something last moment. Then all they need to do is to show up at the box office with their one card, show their one card to the person sitting in the box office area, and they will get a free ticket.
Plus it's the Nutcracker.
Well, everything is different with the Nutcracker.
I would say too, most of the performances of Watson, they're seats.
Yeah,
There are lots of seats. I like to encourage students to take care of it ahead of time so that we don't have an endlessly long line at the box office as we're trying to get the concert started.
yeah.
That's all.
Although some, I think Latanya Moore, some of these concerts are going to be very heavily attended. So it just makes sense to reserve your ticket. And also, I'm looking to provide students outside of our community with some tickets, some young students in the area, or we have a partnership with Wake Forest and their series, Seacrest series, where they have guest artists, and our students get free tickets to those concerts. So I want to reciprocate. So it would be helpful, if folks can reserve tickets, so we just know in advance how many tickets we're looking at.
Folks, we're at time. Thank you again for participating. We'll send out the link in a couple days. As soon as it's ready, it may even be ready this afternoon for this week's email. If not, you'll get it next week. And we look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you to our live audience here as well.
Nice. First.
Yeah.
Take care.